You want to see a nutty save? I have to mute it because there's music. Oh! Okay, so for those of you that are not watching, basically, shot beats the goalie, goes off the post, hits the goalie in the back, and as it's rolling down into the net, he does an entire, 180 spin and gloves the puck out of the air just as it's about to go in. It's on the line. I do not know what league this is from.
It's definitely over Europe. You can tell with all the ads on the jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen that in the NHL.
Oh, yeah. But, this is, recent.
Yeah. Yeah. I now it's going to drive me insane trying to remember it, but we have seen that in the NHL.
Yeah, I've seen a few of the, they spin and catch them out of the air, but just the entire sequence of it, I think it hits off his shoulder. It's a little laggy on here, but It hits off his shoulder and the post and then off his back and almost rolls in. Welcome back to Leafs Late Night. I'm joined by National Beanographic, a.k.a. Galaxy Biehn, a.k.a. the Beaner. Sorry for the delay. Life has gotten pretty busy over the weekend and into the week. Happy March break. I'm sure everybody's busy, but work has really ramped up for me. So hoping we can squeeze as many of these episodes in this week as we can, but there's 4 games, so it's we'll see what we get. Cool.
Sounds good.
Without any further adieu, let's play the intro and get into it.
Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup: Roscoe, the Fanalist, Southey, Beaner, and Darty Brodeur on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
Alrighty, so like I said, happy March break. Hope everybody's getting up to some fun stuff with the fams or with the partner or alone, whatever is your jam. I know it's not a week off of work, but, enjoy it anyway. Whether it's your lunch break or your weekend, just go somewhere where there's not a bunch of kids, because that's something to avoid. Fun story, actually. So last week, we were filming at a maple syrup farm, and they do their sugar bush season this week. And I thought it was a great idea to try to bring my girlfriend out on Sunday for brunch. Little did I know that this place is quite the popular happening spot over March break. And there were both parking lots full, which is probably 300 cars. This is about half an hour outside of Ottawa, for context. It's like people from the area. I don't know how many city people are driving out there. It was lined up down the street. This is an 80K highway, and there were probably another 100 cars just parked on the road. So I went, this is not happening. Found a cute little breakfast restaurant around the corner that said proudly serving the maple syrup from the exact same place. So we went there, and it was lovely, but didn't get to see the whole maple syrup process.
It's still best when you can go and get a popsicle stick, dip it in the syrup, roll it in some nice fresh snow, and then have yourself a little syrup snow cone. That's still the best.
Oh, yeah. See, I lucked out, and because we were working there, I got one on Friday, and I mentioned we were coming back, and he's like, well, you can have one now because we got extras, and they're $4 on Sunday. So I did luck out and get one of those, but I wanted to buy maple syrup because I coincidentally ran out right before we were going to go. So any plans for March break for you?
I'm off. I have a rare week off, which is kind of insane. So nothing too crazy. We're actually there's a local place with a hill that you can go tubing. So we're going to go tomorrow, and then with one of my son's friends from school, we're going to go where our family's bowling, I think Wednesday night, and then surprise them with a trip to an arcade this weekend. And yeah, nothing crazy.
Cool. I love that. So before we get into the game, because we're already behind on the Edmonton game, we'll start with that when we get there. But I just wanted to talk about a new thing that was announced and relate it back to the Leafs and hockey. So the Toronto Blue Jays I don't know if you caught this, but they announced a new outfield district. So as part of the massive renovations that they've been doing in the off season, they have just come out this over the weekend, I think it was, and announced that for $20 all in, you will be able to attend a Blue Jays game in one of, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different outfield spaces. Did you see this?
I did not see this, but I think it's for a team like the Jays, I think it's not a bad idea. Aside from that run in, what was it, 2015 with Bautista, I think they've really had a hard time selling out. Yeah,
there's a lot of seats there. There was 70 something thousand was the capacity. So I think what they've done is take out a bunch of the seats that, would have been more expensive or less entertaining for people to get, and try to entice people to come and spend an afternoon and maybe make it into an outing instead of sitting and watching a baseball game. By the looks of these, there's different experiences you can have. So let's run through them quick. So we got the first up, we got the Corona rooftop patio. So this one looks like it's right in the middle, and the highest one up you can get. It's about in line with the 300 seating, and it's a completely open rooftop. It's got some nice lighting, and it's like a patio, literally. There's wood and fake plants, and it's all Corona themed, and you just get to watch it it's directly under the CN Tower apparently. So that's kind of cool, and you get it for $20. Next up is Park Social, which seems like a family-themed one. There's some games like cornhole and some big dice and checkers, it looks like. I don't know. It looks more like a lawn backyard party. That's, you're watching
like a family reunion?
Yes, exactly like a family reunion. And that's the vibe. There's multicolored chairs, like lawn chair themed. And it says the menu highlights is food truck style eats such as a bacon pepper grilled cheese, brownie sundaes, and milkshakes. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we got the Catch Bar. This one looks like it's about in line with the top of the 100 level. It's pretty low. It says perched above the bullpen with unprecedented views, place to be seen and catch a home run. Sleek and modern, the Catch Bar sits above the visitors' bullpen, offering views of the ballpark like never before. Craft cocktails and trendy food bites such as mac and cheese, Montreal smoked meat, Cuban sandwiches, and brioche pretzel bites. So that seems like your higher class, maybe for the hardcore fans. Try to catch a ball there. You're maybe paying more attention to the game. So what do we think so far before I go on?
Like I said, it's a good way to try to get more fans in the stands. You would think that there wouldn't be that much difficulty filling those seats, even if they're mediocre, given the fact that it is Canada's only team.
Yeah, I think the idea here is that it's harder to sell even like a $10 or $15 300, or I think they even have 400 levels tickets there, than it is to sell a $20 one where you get to maybe passively watch the game. Because I think the problem that baseball's having is that it's long, which is something I'm going to get to. They are addressing that for this season. But it's also just, the difference between watching it on TV and watching it in person, I find is very drastic. But I think it's a way to pull people in that maybe have never been to a game before. Maybe one of your friends really likes the Jays, and it's a way to convince like a group of friends to come because, hey, it's $20 and we can basically just hang out at the bar. It's like paying cover to watch the Blue Jays. I think it's a great idea.
Full disclosure, I've never been to a Jays game. I do watch games now and then, but I'm not a massive baseball fan. It's compared to what we get when we go to a hockey game.
Night and day.
There's no comparison. So it was hard to wrap my head around it for some of the ticket prices that you get. So this kind of thing is decent because, people like me, that would be a lot more enticing to go.
See, what I find enjoyable about it is it's like an afternoon thing. At least when I go on, a weekend. I've gone with family and stuff, or one of my friends' grandparents has had season tickets forever. So we've done a lot of that. So I haven't really had the experience of going to like a game in the evening, but I just like the summer afternoon. You're in Toronto and there's like a whole ton of people walking around with Jays tattoos and stuff. I don't know. It's fun. It's like, I don't really compare it to hockey in that I don't follow the Jays as closely. So it's kind of just like an entertaining outing for me. But the thing that I'll touch on it now, I guess they're introducing I think it's a pitching clock. I'm not like I said, I don't follow closely, but my friend was telling me that this is going to, on average, take about 40 minutes off of every MLB game. So, I mean, that's
like a shot clock in basketball.
Basically. So instead of the pitcher standing there, killing a couple minutes between all these, like once you start pitching, there's like a timer, I think, that comes on, and they only have so many seconds before they have to throw it. Like once the batter goes up to the plate. So the amount of time that shaves off is like, that's huge. Really huge. Like 40 minutes, like a 4-hour game down to, close to a 3-hour game is on par with every other sport. So I think it's a lot easier to pull people in at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to move on here. We've got the Stop, it's called, which seems like kind of like a sports bar. It's supposed to be like your neighborhood bar. Grab a drink with friends before the first pitch. 100 level behind batter's eye. So this seems like, I guess they're trying to tell you to go here before the game. It's like in the concession area. An ode to the stadium's history. The stop sits behind the batter's eye in a space originally planned as a transit stop. Interesting. Showcasing the many different neighborhoods which Toronto's transit system runs through. So it's styled like a station that never was, basically. Cool. Hence the Stop. I get it. Then we've got the Schneider's Porch. I wonder what they sell there. Brand new hot dog headquarters is the destination for a one-of-a-kind elevated hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. Where's the... Oh, that's a nice view. So you're kind of back up behind first plate. You can see the whole field. It's real nice. And I'm sure it's just a bunch of different kinds of hot dogs. And then we've
just
got
so that they can charge you $30 per hot dog.
Oh yeah. Then we got the Rogers Landing. So bring your party to the action in this brand new space with incredible views directly beside the visitors' bullpen. Stellar home run catching territory. So it's just fun, right? The best one though, there's the left field and right field balconies are the last two. The left field bleachers. Oh my God, I can't read. Right field bleachers, left field balcony. Ugh. Okay, so the right field bleachers is literally like if you imagine bleachers at your local ballpark, they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably like 7 or 8 rows of them set up right behind the opposing team's bullpen. So you can just heckle the opposing pitchers from these like steel bleachers.
So we need to get a ticket for a couple games for Darty for them.
Oh, yeah. So what's important to note here is you are not guaranteed space at these because it's standing room, right? There's not really seats, and everybody that has a seat ticket also has access to these areas. So if this gets popular, these are going to be pretty crammed, which is going to be fun. But, if you want your spot, I'm assuming you'd have to get there pretty early.
Yeah, probably. But hey, if that's if you live in Toronto and you're a big time sports fan in general, don't even have to be a Jays fan, that might not be a bad thing, right? Yeah.
So now that we're through all of the things that they brought in, I wasn't really going through it for the purpose of just like advertising the Jays. It was more to, highlight what they're doing and where stadiums are going, which brings us to hockey and the Toronto Maple Leafs. What do you think, similarly, we could see implemented with the Leafs and the Scotiabank Arena?
Honestly, probably nothing.
Because the money is too much, from the seats.
Yeah, they're not going to take seats away from Scotiabank Arena. If anything, they will find a way to add more seats or just build a bigger arena. The only time I think you're going to see anything kind of new, or I don't really want to say modern age, but that way of thinking is really going to be an expansion team or a team that has struggled for years to put butts in the seats, right?
So like you
got Vegas. It's an in-arena experience the entire time you're there. You have Seattle, they're going for the same thing, even when they renovated it. Like, you have street view windows looking down on the rink in that arena. You've got Carolina. I think they were the first arena to bring cheerleaders in. And then the Storm Surge. Like, markets that aren't old school. Montreal,
and Detroit
Toronto,
built Hockeyville.
Yeah, but even them, they had such a downturn for so long. And then they were hot forever as well, but they went through a really rough patch. So you're going to have these hockey meccas who will never do anything like that.
That actually kind of led me to, I just kind of found this today and planned to bring it up. I hadn't put much thought into it while I was working, but that kind of leads me to think that this would be a good idea for the Sens to do with their new arena. Because the Sens have had, if you're not familiar, a Coca-Cola zone and a McDonald's zone that are basically the same as this, where the seats are like $25 or something, and the McDonald's one, you get a coupon for like a free Big Mac meal or something the next day.
The new chicken Big Mac?
Oh, man, why don't they... they're so close to just making the proper sandwich. Just take one of the chicken ones out and put a burger in. You've got the sandwich. Anyway. So my point is that the Sens struggle to sell seats. They were literally covering seats up at the Canadian Tire Center with tarps that just, eliminate having to sell them. So I think this is something that would be a good idea for them, because you're trying to bring the team in, or the fans in, and convince them that the team's in a new era. You're trying to fill the seats again. You have an opportunity to build it with this incorporated in, so you're not losing out on, maybe having 16,000 seats still. You just have these areas built in where it's like a standing bar area over, the 200 level on each side or something. Like, I think it's a really good idea for these cities where, like you said, where they're either new markets or struggling ones.
Now, as you're saying that, it just popped into my head too. I don't know if they took some suites out or what they did, but the Scotiabank Arena does have the Ford fan deck as well.
That's true.
Which is
there
kind
is that.
of sort of that idea, right?
But you do still have to have a $250 ticket in order to walk up there.
I think they give all those tickets away. I don't think you can buy them.
Oh, really?
Area. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, I haven't lived in Toronto. I'm not really familiar. So I only hear about people getting tickets. So that actually leads into another thing we haven't talked about, which is this rumor, unconfirmed still, whispers of Houston and Atlanta coming back.
Houston, I could see. That's a market they've talked about forever. And like, they had a WHA team. Gordie Howe was there, played for the Houston Aeros. I think they could make a run of it. And the Texas market, especially with regards to television, is so massive that the amount of money it would bring into the league would be huge. And ultimately, that's all Gary Bettman cares about. He doesn't care about the quality on the ice. He doesn't care about the fans. He just wants the money.
How far is Dallas from Houston? I'm just going to look at a map. Oh,
I would ballpark 2-3 hours. I think it's like Edmonton, Calgary type distance.
Yeah, if you can imagine the strange shape of Texas, after the like squared off rectangle part where it's wiggly at the top, Dallas is like the farthest north part, and then Houston's like down. I didn't realize Houston's like waterfront. It's down on the what's that? Gulf of Mexico.
So they're massive apart.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably more like Montreal to Toronto or something.
Houston to Dallas is 3.5 hours.
Oh, yeah. So Edmonton, Calgary.
Yeah. Or Toronto to Ottawa.
Yeah. I guess it takes a lot longer for me to get to Ottawa, but that's because I have to go through Toronto and the traffic's horrendous.
Oh, Lordy. Oh, I guess it's more like Cobourg to Ottawa than Toronto to Ottawa. It's more like 4 hours, but still. So I think it makes sense. It's far enough that you could have another team there. It's a university town. It's young. It's hip. Isn't South by Southwest there?
That I don't know. But
or
Houston,
maybe it's in Austin.
As odd as it sounds, Houston makes sense because they've had a team before that was successful. It's not like the Houston Astros were a garbage team. They were a successful team. They were able to pay and keep Gordie Howe. The Howe family played there. So that would be a viable market.
There's the Rockets.
I was just going to say, they still have the Rockets, don't they? NBA and NHL are normally pretty hand in hand with regards to arenas, aside from Brooklyn. But the Atlanta
get
thing
involved with MSG.
This is true. The Atlanta thing really, really pisses me off because you have a full size, like an arena larger than some pro arenas in Quebec as a major junior arena that's not being used. And you're going to give another American city who has failed twice at keeping an NHL team. Twice. You're going to attempt to give them another one? It doesn't make sense.
And I don't know how familiar people are with the debacle with the Atlanta Thrashers, but the owner of that team tried so hard. He was heartbroken when he announced that they had to sell the team, and like nobody would buy it from him. Like they had to relocate because no one in Atlanta, like he could not get investors together to keep this team there because it wasn't surviving. Mm-hmm. Like it was not like, you know, they had a couple bad years and they shipped everybody out of town. Like it was, honestly, it should have worked, but it's not a hockey market there.
Like everybody always says, oh, you know, relocate the Coyotes to Quebec, relocate the Coyotes to Quebec. That's not going to happen. If the Coyotes go anywhere, it will be Houston, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I still don't think they're going to go anywhere, unfortunately. But if you are going to bring an East and a West, do an East and a West and have it a Canadian and American. Do Houston, Quebec. Like, the rivalry alone between Quebec and Montreal would be absolutely worth it.
Oh, yeah. I'm just looking at where... So the Videotron Center in Quebec would rank as number... it's smaller than the Canadian Tire Center, just barely. It puts them just about 18th, just between Columbus and the LA Kings. So they'd be a middle of the NHL as far as capacity goes. Like this place holds 18,259 people.
Yeah.
That's insane.
For major junior.
Yeah. Because, newsflash, that's not what they built it for.
It sucks that I can even say this, but I get where his mind's going. I do not agree with it. I don't think it's right. But he is just looking for that TV contract. Because all he cares about is the money, and Atlanta is a massive market.
Yeah, and the problem with the Videotron Center is you're unfortunately doing most of your TV revenue within Quebec, and that's not enough for the NHL to warrant bringing another team there. Like the Canadians have been around long enough that the entire province makes up enough fans that, and like, the spillover into Ontario and the Maritimes makes up enough fans that can support a team. But like, I don't know about dividing them. That's tough because any English market, like you can get into it, but like, I'm not saying you have to speak French to watch these teams, but primarily as far as the sales of, the actual contract for TV rights, it's going to be heavily influenced by French speaking places.
Yeah. And okay, if that's the case, which I can see where you're coming from there. Anybody who, like any business that has had to try to juggle that, it's difficult, right? And being Canada wide and then adding in Quebec, like it makes things a lot more difficult. Go out east.
Yeah. The flip side to look at it is it's an opportunity to have that extra part of the market, but I don't know. It's tough breaking in there. I think it's very just the way that Quebec likes to keep themselves, to themselves. I don't think many people from Ontario are going to jump on a Quebec City team. I think they would much sooner jump on a second Toronto team.
Yeah, it's so tough because you've had all these markets in the cities they're in forever because they're actually successful, like Boston, Detroit, Toronto, Buffalo, Montreal. Like even Ottawa has a pretty decent fan base. They just don't go to games because the arena is horrible to get to.
Yeah, and the teams
like
also...
There's a lot of Sens fans.
There are, but I was talking about this with a couple of them at work. Of every team in the league, they have the most public debacles ever. Like from the Uber thing to the party.
Up until the last 24 months, I think Chicago's got them beat.
I'm talking, okay, yeah, in terms of scandals, but for what's that, the stupid Examiner or whatever, the tabloid thing. That's the word I'm looking for. The Sens have the most tabloid news ever, and it's really funny. Like the Uber, there was Cece with the party in his backyard. There's, rest in peace, Ray Emery getting pulled over all the time by the cops. There was the Carlson thing with the wifes getting into it.
With Hoffman,
yeah, and then there was Heatley and Spezza had a thing too with the wives, and it's just they're such a tabloid team. It's so funny.
Well, it matches the politicians in Ottawa, right?
Oh shit!
Well, if you're around it all the time, it's going to rub off on you.
Yeah. Right. So I guess to wrap this all up and get into the games, it's unlikely that we see anything change in the viewing experience in the Leafs arena until a new one is built outside of the Ford fan deck, just because of how much they make off of all those individual seats. I'd like to see Ottawa do it. I think it's an interesting thought because the plans for the arena are still kind of up in the air since there's a new group coming in to build it. The site is there, but what's actually going on the site is to be determined. And then Atlanta, I don't think is going to do well. I don't know why we're doing that. And Houston, I get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to keep it in the States and keep it East, Hartford. They've had one shot at it before. That was a heartbreaking loss for that market, for that team. They love that team. You have the instant rivalry with Boston again.
What's that, Connecticut?
Yeah.
Do they have another team?
They had the Whalers originally.
But Connecticut doesn't have a team somewhere else, right?
Not NHL team, no.
Okay, I was just having a U.S. geography brain fart there.
No, but initially they were the New England Whalers, and then they moved to Hartford. And Hartford's had, I think it's the Rangers AHL team. I think it's the Hartford Wolfpack. And that's been there for ever. They're...
I just had a thought.
What's that thought?
So I'm going, 99% sure I'm going out to Newfoundland to work for 5 weeks. When does the Growlers season go till?
Well, it's AHL, so it should be almost
I'm going
in line.
The first week of April.
Oh yeah, you should be able to catch a game or two.
Sweet. I want to do that. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I didn't even think of that until now. Now I'm really excited. I want to go to a Growlers game.
Yeah, no, that'd definitely be worthwhile.
So Hartford. You said East Coast, and then I started thinking about East Coast teams.
Well, that would be if you want to keep it in the States, which I know he does. I don't know market-wise. I think it's a smaller market, so TV contract, it probably wouldn't work for what Bettman would want anyways. That's just a city that always pops into my head. Yes, they've had a team before, and it did leave, but this wouldn't be their third crack at it, right? If you're going to give someone a crack at it that's already had it, at least have it only be one.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're just going to make Atlanta the ticking time bomb to become another relocated team, then sure, let's let someone start it up until we figure out where we're going to move it to. It's like building a house and then putting it on one of those trucks to move it somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah. Let somebody else do all the work, putting the team together, and we'll just slap Winnipeg or Calgary on them. We'll take another Canadian team. Thanks.
Yeah, I guess that's how we get the Nordiques back.
Hey, there you go. This is the long con.
Although Atlanta always goes to a Western Canadian city, so maybe Saskatoon finally gets a team.
Oh, that'd be cool. I mean, kind of unnecessary, but...
Why would it be unnecessary? Saskatchewan doesn't have a team.
But, I don't know, is the population...
give it to Regina.
What's the population of Saskatoon? Oh, it is
tiny.
It's 273,000.
Yeah.
It's like the size of. Isn't that like the size of Kingston?
I think Kingston might even be bigger.
Kingston 136. So it's like 100. It's like 2 Kingstons. So like I don't know. Ontario doesn't have anything between that I can think of. It's only like Ottawa and Toronto, and then it just like drops off after like Kingston and Brockville. And
yeah, I think London's still smaller than
London.
Kingston.
Yeah. And then what was the other one? Regina?
Yeah, that's the capital.
228,000. So they're both like the same.
So small.
Yeah, I don't think that can support an NHL team. I'm sorry.
It can better than Atlanta.
In theory, yeah, just because of Canada, but like...
You would have the entire province going to every game. Like, you would have people driving from Carrot River, Saskatchewan, way the hell up north. My grandpa's from there.
Of course you... Okay. There you
go. Like, you would have people driving from northern Saskatchewan to come down to a hockey game. If they had an NHL team of their own, it would be absolutely insane.
Oh, I guess just looking at the map, like, I mean, outside of Saskatoon, like a lot of it is just along the highway there, like Swift Current, Maple Creek, Moose Jaw, Regina. Like, I guess. Damn, maybe they do need a team. I mean, the whole province has 1.1 million people, which is like the greater Ottawa area. So I guess.
By the way, Johnny.
Yeah.
Friday, April 7th to Sunday, April 9th. Back to back to back. Triple header. Trois-Rivières at Newfoundland.
Let's go.
So the Habs ECHL versus the Leafs ECHL.
I'm so in. Okay, so
games.
Speaking of Leafs, let's talk about the Leafs. So full disclosure, these are like the first 2 games I've missed in a long time. We had plans on Saturday, and then work today just got out of hand, and I got home to watch the clock tick down and the Leafs not tied up. But Willie scored, and I saw the replay, and that's basically it. So I'll let you help me out here. So at work, Andrew and I were sad to see that it was 3-1 for the Oilers in the second period. Noel Achari scoring the only one for the Leafs. Well, Matthias Ekholm, Evander Kane, and Connor McDavid seemingly start to run away with the game, and we were just going, shite. Well, maybe Edmonton is just going to take the series this year. And then we hit refresh. And then we hit refresh again. And then we hit refresh again. And then we hit refresh again. What the hell happened in the second period? So all I have seen is this absolutely disgusting Mitch Marner goal, which I'm sure everybody has seen at this point. But like
that Marner goal reminded me of the Matthews goal against Colorado the year before. Against, I think it was Johansson that was in net, where he gets the puck in front and his hand was moving him like 100 miles a minute, and just absolutely, just same thing as Marner, just absolutely undresses him, but on the other side of the net, because they're opposite hands, right?
So before we break down these goals, Mitch Marner, Selke, because he's had the most takeaways this year, if I'm not mistaken.
It's normally pretty tough for a winger to get this award. In the past, let's say decade anyways. Like, you had Bob Gainey win a whole bunch of them, and you had Jere Lehtinen win a whole bunch of them. Aside from that, it's entirely centers. Like, it's basically been Datsuk and Bergeron for the past 20 years.
And with how Boston's playing, it is probably going to be Bergeron, eh?
Oh, yeah. The awards are going to be McDavid and Boston. That's going to be the awards night. Like,
Linus Ullmark taking home the Vezina. Can't wait.
Yeah. Him and Swayman sharing the Jennings. Bergeron getting the Selke. I guess Carlson's probably going to get the Norris.
Yeah, it's between him and Morrissey.
Which is weird to say.
I know, right? Both of them having career years and just blowing every defenseman out of the water. Like, neither of them makes sense. It's like a guy who's a defensive defenseman who hits people who decided, I'm going to take shots this year. And Eric Carlson, who decided, I'm tired of being old. Let's just score again.
Yeah. Anyways, we're
Marner, Selke.
The train's going around the station a couple times tonight.
Okay. Marner, Selke.
Yes. That goal was incredible. I want to touch a little bit on the start of the game. Murray.
Yeah. So how did we go down 3-1 in the first place?
So Murray missed a lot of time, and he is fighting it hard. You even saw tonight. He still isn't quite there where he should be, and I think that might be why Keefe is going with him back to back, and he might even get the Colorado game. The Evander Kane goal especially, like Matthias Ekholm walks in and from the face-off dot winds up for a slapper, and I think it was like an 80 or 90 mile per hour slap shot. Okay, yeah. Straight on shooter versus goalie, you want the goalie to have it the majority of the time, but when you're that close and it's shot that hard, what are you going to do? Like, I don't really fault him for that. The Evander Kane one, Kane comes in behind the net and the wraparound. The speed and the urgency with which Murray went from post to post, like, that looked like me going post to post when I'm playing beer league scrimmage with my friends.
Oi.
Like, that was bad.
He was on a rookie. It's the only time you can pull off a wraparound.
It was whatever's below rookie. Like, it was bad. McDavid beating him yet again, shooter versus goalie, but McDavid's shot this year is just absolutely incredible. So I won't really fault him for that.
55th goal, like, get out of here.
Yeah, still hasn't hit 60 yet. So, but he did settle it down, and you know, the Oilers only had 26 shots on net. So it's not like you can say, okay, you know, by the time he got a whole bunch of shots on him, he settled down. But it wasn't even really that. He just, something clicked and he was playing a little better. He was still a little shaky and kind of made me a little nervous. That confidence that we had in him at the beginning of the season, where, and you commented on it a couple times too, where the differences between him and Sammy and net. Murray just projected this confidence that the whole team, it changed the atmosphere of the team and how they were playing when he was in net as opposed to Sammy. And it's like that role is reversed now with the injury time and how hot Sammy's been. He needs to work through this. If Sammy gets hurt and he's still playing like this, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I think there's kind of two sides to this, because we've talked a lot about how the Leafs play when their goalies are playing well and how they play when their goalies are playing poorly. They tend to allow too many shots when they have a little too much confidence in their goalie. This seems like once those couple goals, just from what I can read here off the numbers, once those couple goals went in, they went, okay, that's what we're dealing with. Let's adjust and switch to keeping it in Edmonton's end instead of, you know, hanging around and waiting for an opportunity to gouge them off the rush.
Yeah, a little bit of that. And then Keefe was kind of like what he was doing tonight. Keefe was just putting star over star. Like Matthews was going out there against McDavid pretty much every shift. And I know those guys have a little bit of a connection. They train together sometimes in the off season, but they even got a little chippy against each other.
I saw that massive hit he had on McDavid. That was awesome.
Yep, and the refs were too chicken shit to call anything, so they just called two players for almost every penalty call, which made absolutely no sense. Like the McDavid and Matthews ones. McDavid's coming across the blue lines. Matthews kind of sort of clips him with his hip. You know, probably an interference call. Probably should have been called. No arms go up. About a minute goes by and they're kind of jawing back and forth. And then Matthews, I want to say, slashed McDavid. And then they blow the whistle down and they take them both. And it's like, okay, I get it. I'm not saying Matthews was innocent. That was interfering. But when has that ever happened? So, okay, whatever, it's a fluke. And then it happened again. I want to say it was 3 times. Yeah, so McDavid and Matthews at 20 seconds in the second.
Holy moly, yeah.
McLeod and Bunting at the same time. Where is it here? Tavares and Desharnais. Bunting and Kane.
Bunting. And Bunting and Kane got...
Oh, yeah, that was... Yeah. But
they got... How did they get 2 roughing calls each?
They were going up and down the ice, the entire way at each other. And they just gave them both 4 minutes to keep them in the box.
I love it. I like how it's written out, though. It's like roughing, instead of 4 minutes.
Yeah, so I'm not blaming the officiating. I don't want people to say, oh, he's just saying the officiating was bad, that's why the Leafs went down. No, they played like garbage in the first. Murray played like garbage in the first, and he kind of settled himself down a little bit, and the boys picked it up and got some goals for him. It might have been Matthews playing head-to-head with McDavid, lit a fire under his ass, and that got them going. Because all the boys, even Tavares, he slashed Desharnais' hand and ended up getting fined for it.
Yeah, after battling with him and getting, attempted to slew foot and cross-checked, but, sure.
Yeah, but still.
He definitely deserves the fine for the slash. I'm not forgiving him for that, but it's like, if that slew foot had worked, then it would be a fine on Desharnais. It's like,
yep.
What are we doing here? Yeah,
so overall, quick breakdown. There was a lot of offensive goodness to see. The core 4, all 4 of them scoring. Noel Acciari worked his butt off that game. You had Draisaitl and McDavid doing what they've been doing all year, but Edmonton's got 2 players. The Leafs have 4.
Oh,
if you want to break it down to that,
you mean Zach Hyman isn't an elite goal scorer and playmaker?
He's a great player, and I do wish he was still in the Leafs, but not at that contract and not for that duration.
Agreed. I'm not bashing him. It's the Edmonton people that are like, he's better than Nylander. Like, get the fuck out of here. Anything concerning about, yet again, Leafs score and immediately give up a goal? Because this has been a bit of a pattern that has not been one before, but this year it's rearing its ugly head.
Maybe a little bit, just kind of letting themselves get a little comfortable with the goal and then kind of getting caught off guard. Like if you play ball hockey, ice hockey, beer league, tournament, and anything, you get scored on, like that pisses you off and you immediately want to go out and try and get it back. And everybody knows that. So you should be expecting it. Maybe just some complacency.
With the Leafs? No. So obviously, mind-boggling comeback here where they end up winning it 7-4. Like you said, Draisaitl picking up an extra goal there to try to come back. Noel Acciari with 2 goals at the beginning and the end. Got to see it. Got to love it. Good things. Yeah. You like to see the team making a comeback against what's an offensive powerhouse. I'm not going to call them a powerhouse and anything else, but, outscored the scorers.
No, they did. And it's been a handful of games in a row now where Keefe's been going with 11-7. And you haven't seen him do that a lot, but they're trying to make sure that all these 9 NHL caliber defensemen that they got, get games and are all continuously in game shape and ready to go at any given point in time. So that's opening up a little more ice time for the big boys to get double shifted here and there and show what they're made of. Because come playoff time that they're probably going to be demanding more ice if they're down. And now we're seeing what they're capable of doing, so we know if they can handle it or not.
I love that Dubas tried to cover his ass by picking up a bunch of extra defensemen, and the forwards are the ones that get hurt. And he's like, guys, I got you so much backup on D so you could just murder people on the ice with no consequences. And you hit each other in the hand with a shot? Are you joking? Ugh.
By the way, my brain keeps going into like glitch mode every time I see McCabe out there.
Oh, I know. It's weird.
Because I just keep thinking that the equipment guy printed the wrong number on the jersey.
Yeah, why don't you give him 24? Come on. So close. So close. Missed it by that much. I am expecting a little more offensively out of Erik Gustafsson. I hope to see, some good puck moving and maybe a nice shot here and there, but it is a little skewed. He got a hat trick against the Leafs and he has 7 goals this year. So it's like, I call that 5 goals.
There was a little bit more of that tonight. I was thinking the same thing. I was really not disappointed, but kind of left wanting with his play with the Leafs so far. There wasn't anything glaring, but it's just, okay, he's notoriously been an offensive guy. Where is it? And he had a couple rushes today. He was up. He was like a Riley 2.0, which some people will be complaining about that because Riley's been in the hot seat this year, but he had a couple good looks tonight.
Didn't they put them together and everybody's like, what are you doing?
The D pairings have been all over the place lately.
Well, I mean, when you got 9 of them, it's like he's literally throwing magnets that he's got at the wall. We know he's got them. And it's whatever 2 end up together. That's who the pairs are.
Yeah, they had Hall and McCabe together for quite a bit tonight.
And it's crazy. Like, you'll see the pairs come out, and it's like, yeah, Riley's on the 3rd pair. It's like, is he, or are you just running 3 first pairs? Because that's what it seems like to everybody else. Or like 3, like, I don't know, almost top pair. Like, because, I don't know who you could put with Riley that you would call it like a,
Brody.
Yeah, that's true. But they don't do that.
Well, they did tonight.
Oh, good.
So you had McCabe and Hall at 8:57 together, Riley and Brody at 7:47 together, and Gio and Lilly at 5:33.
Okay, so on to tonight. Leafs, rough night against the Sabres. So I want to, the Leafs were 66% on the dot, though. Damn, that's good. I want to pull up a quote here from Mike the Fanatic because he put it so well. When I asked what was going on here in our chat, he said gas was $1.25 a liter to start the game, and then the price went up to $2.09 a liter to start the second and onward. So gas price was the problem tonight. So the Leafs came out full of it. And
I didn't know Gale and Weston controlled gas prices.
Oh, my Lord. Galen. That Weston family's behind everything, man. So Leafs, from what I saw, it was an exciting first. I mean, the second there, they managed to come out quick. Matthews and Yarncroke with some nice goals. I saw the replays on both of those. Yarncroke, man, I like to see the shot coming out. But everything just fell apart after that? What the hell happened?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, the Leafs came out of the second with a 2-1 lead, but they were outshot. I think it was something crazy, like 16-3 or something stupid like that in the second period. They took their foot off the gas and they didn't bother putting it back on.
Oh my Lord. The shots in the first period were 12-3 for Toronto. In the second period, 17-3 for Buffalo. Are you joking?
Yeah.
What? This has been a bit of a pattern for them, though. The first period, it's like there are other teams on pace for, 10 shots. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's even now. What happened?
Yeah. It's like they were doing well in the draw. There was glimpses, but you could tell that Buffalo was the hungrier team. Buffalo's fighting tooth and nail to try to squeak themselves into the playoffs. And Toronto kind of didn't really go full bore probably because of the last game they played against them. That was O'Reilly's big game, right? The Tavares, Marner, and O'Reilly line were just absolutely rolling. Right. Like, not that it's an excuse because it shouldn't happen when you have professional athletes, but it does happen. If you go into a game playing against a team that you just dummied the game before, you can't help but, psychologically kind of let up a little bit.
And then outshoot them 12-3 in the first period.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, guys, just get one in the net and we got this. So it seemed like they got 2 in the net and then went, all right, we got this. And then blew it, which we have not seen a ton of, not a lot of blown leads this year. So this one, like you said, it's the Sabres, so it's not ultra concerning because of how desperate they are. It was nice to see Willie get that one with the empty net, but just a really rough game to lose, honestly.
Yeah, the Jack Quinn goal, I don't really blame Murray. Like, Murray went the first half of the first period without a single shot. So that's difficult.
Especially, like you're saying, they're trying to get him these games so he can get his confidence back, and that's hard to do when you're not actually facing anything.
Yeah, there was a couple times tonight where he was lining up for a shot that it looked a hell of a lot better than he did in the Edmonton game. He looked more square, more confident. And then I want to say it was after the Tuck goal, like the first Tuck goal, that I don't know if it shook his confidence, if there was something going on, but after that he kind of looked like he almost went into his shell a little bit and he was second guessing himself. Like the Jack Quinn goal, you cannot blame him for that. The puck was out front, Quinn shot it, he made the first save, it went in the air and he knocked it out of the air. As Murray's already down, like Murray went to get it with his glove, but the stick was faster than the glove. Like you can't fault him on that one. Tuck's first goal, I think it was his first goal, defensive lapse. He did the old Matthews, when Matthews used to fly the zone and then come back in and nobody knew where he was.
Yeah.
He basically did the same thing. And Marner, I would blame Marner on that one, but you had Hall and Brody both pinching into the same corner. Like, just a whole bunch of brain farts.
See, the fantasy player in me likes that Alex Tuck scored 2 goals tonight. But this dude's been on IR for the last month and a half. And his first game back, it's not one of I'm not faulting the Leafs for how do you let a guy who's had all this time off score 2 goals on you? But it's of course he does.
That's how it happens with the Leafs.
Yeah.
You had Mario Lemieux, who had retired and was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame because he retired due to back and cancer issues and came back in his first goal against the Leafs. He made the Leafs look like a minor league team.
Oh, God.
It happens that way. It always does. If there's a Toronto kid playing against the Leafs, chances are they're going to score. If someone's coming back after being away off a long injury, chances are they're going to score. It's just what it is.
All right, let's do questions quick. We're running out of time here. So, Mikey D, have you ever lost your voice because of a game? Any game
Absolutely.
I've been to in person, I've probably lost my voice.
Yeah.
I yell a lot. I had to warn my girlfriend when she came to a game with me. I was like, you might get a little scared. I'm sorry.
We had a couple of video clips from the game I went to with my dad last year, and Matthews got his 60th that we got pretty loud. I will agree with that.
Next one comes from Leonardo Ronca. The NHL has to hold the refs accountable. That was just awful. This shit cannot continue, in reference to the Edmonton Oilers game.
Yes, we touched on it a little bit. That was the weirdest officiated game I've ever seen. We've seen horrible reffing, and we've seen non-existent reffing. That was just weird. To me, it felt like they were so unsure of themselves that they didn't want to take anybody off. And, okay, I'm going to call that guy. Yep, let's grab someone else too. That way they both can't complain.
It's like the Matthews McDavid thing, It's you can't put one elite guy away without saying, yeah, but what about this guy? You can't say one's good without the other. It's and that just bled through how they officiated the game. So, Mike the Fanatic, would you play 11 forwards in the playoffs if it meant the core 4 getting more ice time? And then Miller 27-27 following up. I heard Keefe doesn't like the 11-7, but with so many D, he wants to see what he has in a game setting. He knows what he has up front. So I kind of agree with Mike. I would play 11 if it meant the core 4 getting more ice time, just because, not that the Leafs don't have the depth, but I don't think there's a problem with those guys playing a couple extra minutes if it means, not having Wayne Simmons in the lineup or something, I feel like that 12th forward is kind of up in the air anyway, now that they've moved on from Engvall.
Okay, so right now,
until we see what we get from Nyes,
to me, it comes to how they're playing. Right now, the forward that's missing is O'Reilly.
That's true.
So he comes back. Okay, yeah, you can knock Czar out because Czar's been kind of on a milk carton for a while. So yeah, you could go ahead and you could do that. But if those 4 guys are getting the extra ice time, I want to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing with it. Not that there's been an issue with it this year, because I have had no complaints with any of their games this year. Tavares, Matthews, Marner, Nylander. Nylander has just completely blown me out of the water with my expectations for him this year because he's brought his entire game back. Marner is likely the best player on the team, and that's saying something because for the longest time, Matthews was heads and shoulders above him. And Matthews has sacrificed self-glory to make himself a better team player. Like he is, I will die on this sword comparing him to Yzerman. It is uncanny. Come into the league as snipers, getting points, goals, whatever you want, and then all of a sudden the switch flicks, and you're one of the best two-way centers that is still a threat to score every time he's on the ice.
Well, the guy's tired of losing in the first round.
Yep.
It's I can score, but like, how do we win?
Yep. By not having Jack Campbell in that.
Sorry, Steph. Okay, so Jimmy robbed you. You already know we catching that dub. Not a question, but I love it. Fun guy, Southpaw Cal, friend of the show. Thank you, sir. Random off-season thought. Who would you rather have? Morgan Riley, $7.5 million, or Darnell Nurse, 9.25?
Morgan Riley.
I would rather have Morgan Riley because for what I would say is probably a worse defenseman for more money, you're killing the chemistry of the locker room with the longest tenured Leaf not being there. I don't get the Darnell Nurse thing. I don't like. I got the guy in fantasy. I'm looking at his numbers. It's not. I get it. Not all defensemen are fantasy stars, but like for 9.25, I'm not paying for a defensive defenseman.
No, and he's not even the greatest defensive defenseman.
So, who would you compare him to? Because, I mean, I don't get to see a ton of Edmonton games.
On the Leafs?
Sure. Play style-wise. Because I would have liked to have seen this game, but it's one of the two of this year.
Part of me would almost say, a wish TJ Brody.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's not as
Brody
defensive.
without the slides.
He's not as defensive, but he's a little more offensive, and he kind of, he doesn't look exactly the same as the picture that you ordered.
Got it.
He's a good serviceable defenseman, but at that price tag, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think we need the $2 million to fill out probably at least two people. The way that this team goes, that's going to be 2 league min contracts and some to spare for that extra $700,000 or something somewhere. So, that's it. That's questions. That's the games. Who do the Leafs play next?
Colorado on Wednesday.
Sweet. Wednesday, I'm probably going to be able to catch the game. What time is it at? It's at 7 o'clock. And then we've got Friday against the Hurricanes at 7. Friday, I am going to be at a play. I'm missing that one. So Wednesday, we'll try to get that one in. And then Friday and Saturday we'll do one. I'm going to the game Saturday.
Probably doubleheader Saturday night. Cover the Carolina game. Cover the Sens game.
Yeah, so if you don't mind waiting till I get home, shouldn't be too long. I do have to come all the way from.
I was going to say
Canada.
I typically would say that's not a problem, but you could probably get from Toronto to Norwich in less time than it will take to get from the Sens Arena to your house.
Yeah, and I moved farther away from it, unfortunately. What is it to get to the Canadian Tire Center? It is 20. It says 21 minutes right now, so game time probably 40. 40. Great, love that for me. Okay,
but hey,
we'll be here.
Just a thought. This 11-7 that solves the whole left wing debate that we've had all season.
That's true. You just eliminate one, and then we can get a bunch of Leafs merch that says it's like a Leafs 7-Eleven combo. So it's you work the logos together. I'm going to come up with something and y'all are going to see it. It's going to be sick. Actually, on that, I ordered kind of a cool interesting streetwear Leafs jersey. I sent it to you guys in the chat, but it's who is it that made it? It's by, oh my lordy, I'm the worst. I can't see, but it's this Leafs jersey that says the Buds with an upside down Leafs logo on it. It's super sick. It's a Matthews like cartoon, and he's all fiery. And that's what I'm going to wear to the April 1st game, probably, if it comes in time. We'll see.
When they were talking about different jerseys for like the Heritage Classic and stuff like that last year, there was one floating around that was it was basically like the 91 Canada Cup jersey.
Oh, nice.
But in blue and white for the Leafs. And I would buy one of those if I could get my hands on one.
Oh, speaking of jerseys, Friday we got the St. Pat's jerseys.
Absolutely. Love them. Totally love them.
I don't. But that's okay. We don't have to. Love
I'm a history buff, and if you wear that color, someone would call you a leprechaun. So I can get it.
Yeah, maybe that is like a deep-rooted, like, what do they call it? Like biological trauma that I can't wear lime green. I cannot think of a time in my life where I've worn lime green. I do wear green, but like it's like that new like 2020s it's like millennial pink but green, you know? It's that new tone that's like everywhere. I don't know. Never mind. We're getting out of here. I'm tired. Good night.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
And go check out Sports is Fun. Sports is fun.
Love you, Marty.